Hi, it's Bob with 3D Printer World, and I'm here with Joshua Harker at the 3D Print Show in London. And the first piece that you see when you walk into the exhibit here is this right over here. And we're going to ask Josh to talk a little bit about it. First of all, thanks for being with us, Josh.
Certainly.
Tell us a little bit about your process.
Sure. Yeah, I don't scan anything at all. I work very, specifically, and my pieces grow. I tend to. I had an idea that I wanted it wearable, so I kind of this starting point, certainly of a head, that it needs to fit on a head, and from there, I start very loosely. With some kind of vision, but I want things to happen. So as they grow, I let them kind of start to present themselves, and then I start working on composition and balance. And every line and every form is very purposeful. I don't want to just do something just to get exceptionally intricate. I purposely avoid them, devouring themselves. If they get too busy, they quit breathing and they start to lose that quality. So even though they're growing in front of me, at a certain point I kind of prune and tend them, so to speak.
Well, thanks. He has some other pieces here too. Josh does. We're gonna take a quick tour and look at some of these others. Can you tell us a little bit about this series here?
Sure. This is my Tangle series. I call them Tangles, and this is really my first exploration into 3D printed medium. And in the 80s, I was doing these. I started in the 80s. I mean, I still do them. These drawings that I found out are basically this surrealistic practice of called automatism. So it's this very loose and spontaneous way of drawing, from the subconscious. And I wanted to develop those drawings into 3 dimensions since I was doing them, and there was no way to do it. No medium holds up, to this kind of geometry, and I tried in clay and stone and metal and all kinds of things, and it didn't work. So, to spare you all the details, I mean, I worked with the technology since the very early '90s, and watched it develop over the years, and always immediately knew I wanted to make art with it, but in the form there was no way that was going to happen. The software interfaces and the technology materials weren't ready for it. But over about 20 years. I just kept getting better with it and waiting for things to come along and really studying it and outwardly looking for new processes and materials and software that I could use to realize these. So in the early 2000s, it was kind of a perfect storm. It all happened, and particularly important is that these are an archival material, something that we've made machinery and weapons and art for millennia, that a form that could never exist before can now exist, and in a material that we've made some of our most important things as human beings. So symbolically, there's a real metaphor, kind of flag on the moon, that we've arrived in a new era, and there's kind of no turning back. These aren't practically useful items; they are fine art. But again, that we can start to, go into this new horizon of shape and form and geometry, and in materials like this is profound.
Well, thanks for joining us, Josh, here at the 3D Print Show in London. If you'd like to meet Josh and see some of his pieces, check out 3dprinterworldexpo.com and learn about the show that Josh will be attending and doing a little. I think he'll do a little Q&A with some attendees there as well, and you'll get to see some of his pieces. Thanks again, Josh.
You're welcome.